Good morning, all. So let us start with module number five, that is hybrid drivetrain design. And in this case, we will be finding whatever we have studied in the module four. It is extension of that, and we are going to see hybrid drivetrain design for series and for parallel in detail. And there will be cases here with direct design, that is how to design the train, how to design the engine, how to design the motors, and all those things. So a little bit of numerical and design considerations will be there. So as this is the last module, uh, all the things that we have learned so far, all the fundamentals will come here. Many of the fundamentals will be repeated, but it is the theory is repeated, but mainly we have to see here the application of application and design based application. In this case, we will see. So there are mainly two topics we will find. So this chapter, this module actually is spread over two chapters in the book of Ehsani. So what we find is this is the first part. So as we found in case of fourth module, that is series and parallel, all those things were there. In this case also there will be series and parallel electric drivetrain design. So previous chapter there were two parts. First part was electric vehicle, second part was hybrid electric vehicle, and they were spread over fifth and sixth chapter of the book of Ehsani. And in this case, the first part, there is a series hybrid electric drivetrain design, which is also called as electrical kind of coupling. Series coupling is called as electrical coupling, and parallel coupling is called as mechanical coupling. So in this case, first we will see the series hybrid electric drivetrain design, and the first this first part you will find from the book of Ehsani, chapter number 8. Okay, and the topics that is given actually, this all are the topics from module 8 of Ehsani. So operation patterns, control strategies, PPS control, very important thing, that is peaking power source control. Generally we have seen that in case of all this hybrid electric vehicle, what we find is initially there is a IC engine which is actually supplying the power, and whenever there is a peak power demand at that time, the PPS control will also supply some kind of energy. So PPS control can be, most of the time it is battery, certain times it can be flywheel, certain time it can be ultra capacitor and all. So what is exactly the PPS control, we will start it today. We will not be able to finish maybe, because operating patterns and control strategies, they are also quite big topics. So operating pattern, control strategy, PPS control, and in control actually there are two topics, PPS control and thermostat control. Thermostat control is quite easy, so PPS control we will try to see today as much as we can do. And next day we will see thermostat control and then sizing of major components. So in sizing actually we are finding that there will be the design procedures. That means how to decide the size for electric motor, size for the battery, size for the engine, size for the peak power source. All these sizing considerations will come in the latter part of this topic. So this all the series hybrid electric drivetrain you will find in the book of Ehsani, module number 8. It starts at page number 2. So after we finish this, we will go for parallel hybrid drivetrain design, which is more in use actually. So more than series, parallel hybrid drivetrain is more in use. This is actually called as mechanical type of coupling. And here again the same thing we will see, that is what are the different control strategies. So topics is kind of in the similar line, but once we have to do the control strategy for series, once we have to do the control strategy for parallel. So first is different control strategy for parallel hybrid drivetrain design, then state of charge, SOC control, then engine on-off control, and then comes the design part. So there will find the design of engine, design of motors, design of PPS. So these are the mainly three things, that is engine and PPS. They are the source, and is the device through which the drivetrain is given the power. So these are the three designs. In the previous case also we have found design of traction motor, design of engine, and design of PPS. So in both the cases we'll find this. So I'll try to finish the whole module in 4 to 5 lectures. So I think my guess is within this month, month of May, this module will be over, the syllabus will be over, and next month whatever time is there we will complete all the course activity seminars, and there are OBS and there are IAS. All those things will be completed next month, that is starting from first week of June. So strategies, Within this month, we have to complete this module 5. Now, these are three topics we are going to see today in this session. That is, what are the operating pattern of series hybrid electric drivetrain. Then, what are the different control strategies? There are few we will see, and PPS control we will start today. There is only one big image, and there are different control strategies which are explained there. We will see that today. There is also another flow chart of PPS control. I don't think we'll be able to do it today because time will not permit, but let's see how much we can do. And then there is thermostat control, and there is different design based things. So we will see that in the latter part. So let us start with design principles. So just 1 minute. So design principles of series hybrid electric drivetrain. This is actually called as electrical coupling. So this module number 8 from the book of Ehsani, or first part of our fifth chapter, that will be electrical coupling. Parallel is called as mechanical coupling. We have seen that in the previous chapter. So the concept of a hybrid electric drivetrain was developed from the EV drivetrain. So whenever EV was developed, at that time this hybrid was also developed. So EVs compared with the conventional gasoline or diesel vehicle have the advantages. So we have many times seen what are the advantages of EVs. The main advantage being it is a clean source of energy. Second is it is pollutant emission is zero, multi-energy sources, and high efficiency. So efficiency of EV is more than efficiency of whatever IC engine we find. But the main problem is in one charge, it cannot go too much of a distance, and recharging the EV is a big concern. Okay, so that's why gasoline is very easy to recharge. That is, you go to any petrol bunk and you just get the tank of the vehicle filled, and you can go again another for 300 400 kilometers or so. But charging the EV battery is very time consuming, and that is actually the main problem. So that is a main concern for EV vehicles. But advantages are always there. That is mobile zero mobile pollutant emission, multi energy source. EV is a multi energy source, and high efficiency. So these are the positives of EV. So present EV technology have the disadvantage. So this slide is very important because they are actually comparing all the advantages and disadvantages of EV. So what are the disadvantages of EV? First thing is limited drive range. Exactly the same thing I was talking about, that once you store the energy, or once you charge the battery, you cannot go too much of a distance. So that is a limited drive range due to the shortage of energy storage in the onboard batteries, because batteries cannot store infinite energy. So once you store the energy, once you charge the battery, you can go for a finite distance only, and that distance is less than the gasoline range for one full tank. Okay, so limited payload and volume capacity due to the heavy and bulky batteries, obviously. But this is, I think, it was the book written before 20 years or so. Nowadays, batteries have become quite light, and nowadays the efficiency of the batteries have increased quite a lot. So Tesla claims that in one charge, their vehicle can go for around 630 kilometers or so, and that is actually too much. So this limited payload and volume capacity due to heavy and bulky batteries, it was there, it still is there, but the problem is solved for quite a lot of extent. And third problem is long battery charging time. So somehow, suppose you charge it once and you are planning to go for 1000 2000 kilometers. So in between you have to stay over in some hotel or something, and you have to get your vehicle charged. So I told you all this problem just for that charging and charging time. So how much distance you can cover in one charge, that is a big problem. Second thing is batteries are very bulky, and third thing is charging time. That is, you have to keep it in charging for overnight, then only it is possible to charge the vehicle full and go next day for another long drive. So these are the main three disadvantages of EV technologies. But the initial objective of developing a series HEV, that is hybrid electrical vehicle, was aimed at extending the drive range by adding an engine alternator system to charge the batteries on board. So it was told from the very beginning that EV is not the only solution, or EV cannot be a permanent futuristic solution. So what is a Futuristic solution is gasoline based vehicle plus EV, so together they are producing a HEV. And whenever the HEV is there, the range gets extended, and the problem of the charging and problem of the distance range covered for one charging, all these problems will get solved. So in this case, the electrical vehicle or the battery part will act as a auxiliary source, and the main source will be the gasoline source. So futures of series hybrid electric drivetrain. So what are the specific characteristics and special features of series hybrid electric drivetrain? So whenever we are doing the next part, that is the second part of this module 5, there we will see the features of parallel hybrid electric drivetrain as well. So vehicle performance in terms of acceleration, gradability, and maximum speed. So these are the three vehicle performance parameters. We have seen it time by time. So vehicle performance, that means acceleration, gradability, and maximum speed is completely determined by the size and characteristics of the traction motor drive. And traction motor drive is actually designed as far as the battery is to be put in the vehicle. So battery design of battery size, capacity, and size, capacity, and efficiency of the traction motor. So these two are the main thing which has to be designed in case of any kind of electric vehicle. And not only these two, as this is a hybrid system with the motor, we have to design the PPS also. That is a peaking power source. So these are the main three designs, you can say. One is engine, one is battery, and one is the motor. So these three are the main designs in case of hybrid electric drivetrain. So two things are mentioned here. One is battery and another is the traction motor. So these two design, if we know how to do this, we can say that yes, we know how to design a electric drivetrain, and that is also for series hybrid type. So for EV, the motor power, capability, and transmission design are one and the same. So how much will be the motor power, how to propagate it to the drivetrain, and all those things, this is the main design in case of EVs. However, the drivetrain control is essentially different from the pure electric drivetrain due to the involvement of the additional engine and generator unit. We have seen it previously, we will see it today also shortly in a diagram, that is the overall block diagram of series hybrid electric drivetrain. That is, first, in case of hybrid, there is a engine, and after that there comes a generator, and that engine generator unit is the main source of power in case of any hybrid series electric drivetrain. And those two things are coming in series, that is engine and generator. So engine means it is powered by fuel, that is there is a hydraulic link between that, that is the source of the fuel, that is a tank, and there is a hydraulic link between them. And after engine there is coming the generator. So engine to generator, it's a kind of a mechanical link. So this engine generator is actually the heart of the whole system, and the drivetrain control is essentially different in EVs, because EV, it is only battery. Okay, so from battery is sourcing the power to the motor, but in case of HEV, there is the engine generator unit, and that actually supplies to the motor. What is the difference between EV and HEV? EV, it is only battery to the motor, and HEV, it is engine generator set, okay, to the motor. So however, the drivetrain control is essentially different from the pure electric drivetrain. So in pure electric, it is only battery motor due to the involvement of the additional engine generator unit. So this is in case of HEV. The discussion here will focus on the design principles of engine generator system, the drivetrain control, and the energy and power capacity of the battery pack. So there are two sources. The main source is engine generator, and the auxiliary source or PPS source. PPS is a word which will be used repeatedly in this chapter. PPS stands for peaking power source. So in the previous chapter, we did not use this term. In this module, we are too much using this term. So peaking power source means if there is a special requirement, or if there is a sudden requirement of energy for climbing the hill, or maybe for cold starting or something, who is going to give the extra power? In that case, the extra power will be taken from the battery pack. So in this case, the design of engine alternator system, that is engine generator system, that is the first thing. Drivetrain control. So drivetrain control will be having control of all the intermediate links and all the intermediate power converters and all these things. And finally, the energy and power capacity of the battery pack. So battery pack is PPS source, engine generator is the main source, and the drivetrain to the motor to the output. So these three are the main designs. Here the term peak power source will replace the battery pack. Okay, so whenever I'm saying peak power source, that means it is talking about the battery pack, which is the auxiliary power source, because in HEVs, the major function of the batteries is to supply the peaking power. So I'm telling you repeatedly the same thing. That is, main power is actually supplied by the energy generator source, and if there is a specific demand, if there is a sudden demand, that will be supplied by the battery, and that is called as a PPS. That is a peak power source. So they can be replaced with other kinds of sources such as ultracapacitor, flywheel, and combinations. So not necessary that always peak power source will be battery. Sometimes it can be ultracapacitor, it can be the flywheel, that is a mechanical battery, or sometime it can be the combination of battery, ultracapacitor, battery, flywheel, and all those things. So there may be more than two peak power sources. So there may be battery, flywheel, there may be battery, ultracapacitor, like that. But main source is the generator, or it is called as alternator. Okay, or engine and alternator unit. So alternator is actually giving out the AC power, and generator generally we use in case of DC. So engine is actually producing the mechanical power output. That mechanical power is driving the generator unit, and generator is producing actually the AC power output. So engine and generator is the main unit, and battery pack or combination of battery pack, ultracapacitor, battery pack, flywheel, they can be the PPS or auxiliary power unit. So this you have to understand. That's why it is called as hybrid. And as engine and generator, they are generally in series. That's why this is being called as a series hybrid electric drivetrain. Now you can see the diagram here. Very clear cut diagram is given. Similar kind of diagram you have seen previously, but in this case PPS is not okay. PPS is also shown. So here see that this is the engine and generator. So these two are the main things. That's why this is called as a series hybrid. Why hybrid? Because in this case you are using engine as well as generator. So this is a mechanical thing, this is a electrical thing. So two different paradigms, electrical and mechanical, they are connected in series. That's why this is called a series. And hybrid, hybrid means there is a peak power source, and that peak power source control is there likewise. So you can find here that this is a drivetrain, there's a mechanical drivetrain, and there are three types of links mentioned. One is called as, this is the signal. Okay, so signal is coming from peak power source. So this is the battery source. Okay, so there's a battery source, there's a peak power source. Previous module, this peak power source was shown below. Okay, and in this module, this peak power source is shown above. So as told in the previous slide, that this peak power source means actually the battery pack. So battery pack will replace this peak power source, or battery pack will be replaced by this peak power source. So this is actually the PPS. PPS is nothing but the battery source, and how much is the state of charge in the battery, how much is the energy pending remaining in the battery is found out by sensors. So we have seen how to sense the SOC, and that will go actually, sorry, that will go in the vehicle controller. So this vehicle controller and engine controller, so this is actually the main embedded microcontrollers. They are actually tracking all the operations of the vehicle as well as engine at every second, at every time instant. Okay, so how much is the peak power source? That means how much is the charge stored in the battery, state of charge, that is actually sensed, and vehicle controller is coming to know about it. Operation command is coming. That means whatever things are to be done. Okay, that means you can say a brake or a turn or acceleration. All these things are called as operation commands. So that is actually coming not directly to the mechanical points, but it is coming to the vehicle controller first, and then vehicle controller distributes that command accordingly to the engine or mechanical brake controller and other places. So this is the operation command. So brake, if comes here, vehicle controller, then this vehicle controller tells the mechanical brake controller that the request is coming for more brake or less brake or something. So this is a mechanical brake controller. We have seen how the brake is controlled. So there is a hydraulic pipes and all these things that is filled with the brake fluid, and there are actually many valves and all those things. Okay, so all those valves and everything is controlled by the vehicle controller. So command comes here, command for acceleration, command for brake, command for turning and all those things. And vehicle controller actually segregates the command to different necessary parts. Now this vehicle controller is also asked for more power. That means suppose the operation command comes for acceleration. So vehicle controller understands that acceleration is high, then it will be giving the signal. So this is arrows are the signal. It will give back the signal to the engine controller. That is more power is being asked by the driver. So driver is commanding for more power. So in that case, the engine will change its position accordingly, and engine will do all the jugglery so that more power drivetrain from the engine generator sources. Likewise, engine controller and vehicle controller, there must be a link between that, because vehicle is giving the command is satisfied, and then engine controller will say yes, the command is satisfied. So this can be an acknowledgement, or this can be certain time the engine controller can give the control signal to the vehicle that we are running at the optimum speed or something. Okay, so better you don't change the setting, we are running at optimum speed, engine is running at the optimum speed, or engine cannot do anything more. Okay, so engine is running with maximum kind of possible things, nothing more to be done. So this is actually engine speed, throttle position. So all these things are actually fed back to the vehicle controller. So whatever is the status of the engine, whatever is the status of the engine, that is actually fed back to the vehicle controller by the engine controller. And all the positions, all the status of the engine is continuously sensed by this engine controller. Okay, so engine controller is giving the signal to the engine, and definitely in engine also there might be some sensors. So all those sensed signals are coming back to the engine controller. The engine controller is giving all those signals back to the vehicle controller. So vehicle controller is the main brain. I told you that engine and generator is the heart because that is generating the main power, but vehicle controller is the main brain of the whole process. Whole process means it's all vehicle. Here only we are talking about one process, that is a power generation. Obviously there is a main process, but apart from that also many other processes are there. So all these processes are being controlled by the vehicle controller. So this diagram is very important. This diagram and explanation can be asked for a 10 marks question. So you have to draw this big diagram, though this is the main part of energy propagation, but other parts also you have to explain. So other parts means what is vehicle controller, you have to say this is the main brain of the system, what all things it is controlling. So it takes the command input, it is giving the command to the different related parts. So brake command is given, brake command is asked from the vehicle, so vehicle controller giving the brake command to the mechanical brake. Then more acceleration is asked, so vehicle controller is taking the command and giving it to the engine controller. See here, from here, whatever is the position of the vehicles, whatever is the power generator and all these things, so all this axle differential from here, maybe the position of the wheels and all these things, so these are actually sensors. So all these things, vehicle speed and everything is taken back to the vehicle controller. So there are two speeds that is being sensed. So first speed is the engine speed, which is sensed by the vehicle controller. So see here, this is engine speed, this is the throttle position and all. So this is sensed by the engine controller, and this is given back to the vehicle controller. So there is the engine side. How much is the RPM, omega? And this is vehicle speed, because this is axle rotation of this thing actually deciding how much will be the rotation of wheels and all these things. So this is actually V. Okay, V is nothing but V is kilometer per second. So that kilometer per second is here, that sensor is here. And engine controller means this is RPM, rotation of the engine, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, all those things. So this ranges you should know. We know how much can be the vehicle speed range, normal vehicle, whatever we drive on road and all. So 150, 200 is the maximum range. Samely, you should understand how much is the range of the engine rotation. So 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 RPM is generally the range of engine rotation. So these all these control signals you have to explain. So first is this is the vehicle speed. Second is this is the engine speed and throttle position. This is the operation commands. There are mainly three operations: brake, acceleration, and then there can be the direction. This is a PPS, peak power source. So peak power source means whatever is the battery charge, how much is charge remaining, it is given here. Then let us come to this main power or drivetrain. Okay, so main the electric drivetrain you come. So we are finding that engine and generator, they are coupled with a mechanical thing. So this generator is a AC generator. So from engine here is produced the mechanical energy that is running the generator, and that generator is producing after that there is the electrical coupling device. So inside it you had seen there are two kinds of converter. So in this side there is the AC to DC converter or rectifier, and where there is the peaking power source. From here there is the DC to DC converter. So this peaking power source is generally DC. So from here it is DC to DC converter, power goes to the motor, and from generator this is a electrical link. You can say there is no arrow. So this all are electrical links till this. So generator, electrical coupling, motor controller, and motor. These four are electrically connected. So these are all electrical links. Okay, and this vehicle controller is controlling the motor also. So depending on how much acceleration, all these things are asked. So there are two controls of the vehicle speed that can be achieved by the vehicle controller. One is by controlling the engine, and second one is by controlling the motor. Okay, so these two ways the vehicle controller can control how much should be the power, mechanical power given to the actual transmission. So you can see here this engine, mechanical coupling, generator, AC. This is getting converted to the DC by this rectifier, and that signal is given to the motor. Motor controller is given to the actual motor, driving motor, whichever is there. That is given the power. So this is from the actual series type of energy generation. And if you want parallel, so a little bit of another thing is there. There's a peak power source. So from there, DC to DC converter, and then motor, and then motor. So these are the two paths where this horizontal path is a main generation of power, and this peak power source is the supplementary or auxiliary kind of power source. So all the points I have explained. Then from motor to the actual axle, so there is a transmission. So we have seen there are different types of transmission. This can be with gear, without gear, shaft 1, shaft 2, all those things is explained last day itself. So in yesterday's lecture only we have talked about it. There are different types of transmissions, and then it is going to the, so main mechanical power is going to the drivetrain. So this question can be asked for 8 to 10 marks. So you have to mainly classify your answer into three parts. So what are the mechanical connections? What are the mechanical things here? So engine to generator, this is a mechanical connection. Motor to transmission to the actual drivetrain power. Okay, that is another mechanical transmission. Here there is a differential. So the axle to differential and to both the wheels. This is also a mechanical connection. So this is the first type. Second type is what is the electrical connection? So electrical power is from generator to electrical coupling, motor, controller to motor. This is one link of electrical connection. Second link is from peak power source to the electrical coupling to motor and motor controller and motor. This is another type of electrical connection. And finally, what are the signals? So we see how many signals are there. First is this brake and acceleration and direction. This is one signal. Here there are many signals. Vehicle controller to engine controller. Engine controller is giving feedback. Engine controller to engine. This is another signal. From here there is coming how much is the vehicle speed, like this. And here whatever is the peaking power, from there how much is the PPA state of charge. That is another signal given to the vehicle controller. So this is all signal coming towards vehicle controller. Now all signals that is going out from the vehicle controller is, if there comes a brake request, then this vehicle will request the brake, mechanical brake, that you put the brake here. Now this mechanical brake, so this signals we have not discussed. This mechanical brake, upon receiving the signal from the vehicle controller, it actually gives the signal to the wheels. Okay, so disc brake, drum brake, whatever is there. So this is the execution. So this is actually a controller, and after that there will be actuator, and that actuator is giving the execution signal to the wheels or tires. So this is one execution, this is another execution, like this. So these are also signals which are given to the wheels for execution of brake. So you have to, so my suggestion is you divide. So I have not given much of theory here, but whenever this question is asked, you have to write some 2-3 pages, and you have to draw this diagram big. So with respect to this diagram, you have to divide all the signals into three parts, and each part signal you have to explain separately and make points. So don't write flat, don't write in paragraph format. So first say this is mechanical connection. Then number one, engine to generator. This is one connection, what it does. Second, motor to transmission. This is the second type of mechanical. Third, transmission to the axle and to the differential and wheel. This is the third mechanical connection. So all the three types of mechanical connection you have explained. Then comes to electrical power. This is the second point. In that sub point is generator to electrical coupling, one connection. PPS to electrical coupling, one connection. So PPS power and generator power, they are getting coupled at the electrical coupling. And third connection is electrical coupling to motor controller. Fourth electrical power connection is motor controller to motor. So there are four types of electrical connections. So one between generator to electrical coupling, peak power source to electrical coupling, then electrical coupling to the motor controller, motor controller to motor. So these are the four types of electrical connection. And then there is signal. So signal you can find out there is 1, 2, 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So around 10 different signals are there. So number one is vehicle controller to engine controller. Second is engine controller to vehicle controller. So forward and feedback. Third is engine controller to engine. Third one. Fourth is from the axle to the vehicle controller. 4. Operation commands. 5. PPS to the vehicle controller. 6. Vehicle controller to the mechanical brake. 7. Mechanical brake to all the wheels. 8. And the speed, vehicle speed controller. So 9 to 10 different signals which can be explained that you can explain. So together all these things, it is said that this is a typical series hybrid electric drivetrain operation. So what is written there below, let us see. So a vehicle with series hybrid electric drivetrain is propelled by a traction motor. So this is a traction motor which is powered by battery pack and or engine generator unit. So this motor is powered by primarily engine generator set, that is the electrical type of source, and second is peaking power source. So both are electrical source, immediate source is generator and peaking power, but this generator is also run by the engine. Okay, so this is what is given here. It is propelled by battery pack and or so we have seen sometimes source 1 is driving the driving traction motor, sometimes source 2 is driving the traction motor, sometimes together they are driving the traction motors. So there are different modes of operation depending on that. It is and or like that. So the powers of both power sources, so both power source means one is engine generator is one power source, peak power source battery is another power source. The power of both power sources are merged together in a power electronic based controller electrical coupling device. So this is the main thing in series hybrid electric drivetrain, that is this is called as electrical coupling. Many operation modes are available to choose from. So we have seen there are 9 operation modes in this. We have seen in the previous module according to the power demands of the driver and the operational status of the drivetrain system. So one more thing is there can be regenerative braking, and that regenerative braking, this motor acts as a generator. So whatever braking occurs here, that will be given in, it will act as a generator, and through the coupling, bidirectional coupling, it will charge the peak power source. So that is another source. So there are mainly 3 sources. First is engine generator, one source. This peak power source is getting energy from external supply, that is the external electric supply, that is another source. And third source is regenerative braking, which is a kind of a reverse energy from the vehicle tires or wheels to the peak power source. So these are the 3 sources which are possible in this series hybrid electric drivetrain operation. So many operation modes are available to choose from according to the power demands of the driver and the operational status of the drivetrain system. So if it is in the forward kind of driving, engine generator or peak power source will run the vehicle. If it is regenerative braking, at the time this vehicle will charge this peak power source or battery pack. So all these things were explained last day, but it is explained in a detailed manner in case of a HEV, that is the typical series hybrid electric drivetrain operation. So in the previous module also in the second part we have seen the same thing, but it is given in more detail here. So what is the operating pattern? The same diagram is here. The engine generator system is mechanically decoupled. Electrically coupled or mechanically decoupled, both are same thing here, because you are finding that the engine generator is electrically coupled with the motor. This peak power source is electrically coupled with the motor, or they are mechanically decoupled. Just in the second part of this module, whenever we are doing parallel hybrid electric drivetrain, we will find that this peak power thing is converted, is this peak power energy is given to a motor. That motor is generating a mechanical power. It will come here. And this engine generator set, the generator will not be there. Whatever mechanical energy engine is producing, that also will come here. So in case of electrical coupling, there will be a mechanical coupling. So as in this case, after engine there has come a generator. In case of parallel, we will find that after peak power source there will come a motor. Okay, So that will be the new thing, the new addition. So generator will be removed and the motor will be connected after peak power source. So everything will be converted to mechanical power. So this engine mechanical power and mechanical power of the motor will be coupled here by using mechanical coupling device, and that will be given to the motor or traction motor, and traction motor will drive it, the vehicle. So that is actually the parallel hybrid electric drivetrain. So the engine generator system is mechanically decoupled or electrically coupled from the drive wheels as shown in above figure. The speed and torque of the engine are independent of the vehicle speed. Very important thing. Speed and torque of the engine are independent of the vehicle speed and traction torque demand. So speed and torque of the engine, that means this one. Okay, so whatever speed and torque of the engine that is actually produced, that is independent from the vehicle speed. It is very, it listens actually very odd, because whenever we are talking about IC engine based vehicle, okay, we can say that engine speed and vehicle speed, they are kind of a directly proportional. So more is the engine speed, more will be the vehicle speed. But in this case, it is not the case. In this case, this engine actually drives the generator. Generator is actually giving the output, electrical output. They are again converted to motor, and that is going to the traction motor. So whenever this vehicle is demanding more power, not necessarily that engine will be burdened, not necessarily. That means engine might be running in the same speed, but again vehicle control is asking for more power. So in that case, maybe engine is running with the same base speed, but this peak power source, they will give the extra power, and in that case you will find though engine is running with the same speed, but vehicle speed has increased. So where is this extra power coming from? This extra power is coming from the peak power source. So not always in case of HEV, engine power is directly proportional to vehicle power. No. Okay, engine might be running with a base speed, auxiliary requirement, whatever is the peak requirement, or we have seen there was a word called as a bump. Okay, or bumper power. Bumper power means something above the addition. So that bumper power is supplied by the peaking power. So very important line, the engine generator system is mechanically decoupled. The speed and torque of the engine are independent of the vehicle speed and traction torque demand, because the extra power may be supplied by some auxiliary source. They can be controlled at any operating point on its speed torque plane. So there is a speed torque plane for engine, and addition there is a speed torque plane for PPS, that is the external battery peaking power source. Together they are actually fulfilling the demand of the overall vehicle. So there are two speed torque plane. One is the speed torque plane of the engine, which is running with a constant speed, giving a constant power or torque, and there is another speed torque plane which is produced by the PPS. Together they are satisfying the whatever is the demand. Very important thing, very important slides. So all these points whatever written are to be understood. And now what we are finding is the engine characteristics and optimal operating region. So all these things we have seen already. So here x-axis is the crankshaft speed, that means how much speed the vehicle is running with. So you are finding here it is up to 5500, and y-axis is how much is the power generated. So this is engine characteristic and optimal operating region. What is said is that generally the engine should be controlled in such a way that it always operates in its optimal operation region. What is optimal operation region? You are finding here. This is the optimal operating region. So here you are finding speed is around 1600 or so, and here up to around 2500. So 1500 or 2500 is the optimum region of crankshaft RPM, whereas maximum crankshaft RPM is 5500. That means you are finding almost 30 to 50%, 30 to 45, 50% of the maximum engine speed or maximum vehicle speed. So that's why it is said that even if the vehicle is can go up to 200 RPM or so, but 30 to 45% of it, that means you can say around 40 to 70 kilometer per hour. So if you are running a vehicle, or if you are driving the vehicle to 40 to 70, 75 kilometer per hour, in that case we are getting maximum power efficiency or maximum optimal operating region. And whenever the vehicle is running with maximum best efficiency or optimal operating region, in that case the carbon emission of the vehicle also will be less. So very important points we have to understand, that is the vehicle has to run with kind of, just find out this ratio 5500 up to for this 1600 and up to around 2600 or something. So 5500 is the main maximum speed, 1500 to 2500, you can say, or 2600. This is the range we should drive the vehicle. That means almost 30 to 45% of the maximum speed. In that case, we are getting first maximum output power, second best efficiency, best fuel efficiency. That means whatever fuel is there, we can use it for longest distance ride. Third thing, the emission is least whenever we are running the vehicle within this range, smaller range. In that case, uncombusted fuel will be least. Okay, so whatever smoke and black smoke and all these things are coming out of the vehicle will be least. Carbon emission and poisonous gas emission from the vehicle will be least. So this is the best sweet spot. So that's why this is given at the center. Highest efficiency, 34.3% or something is given, and 250 is what? Maybe the kilowatt power. No, no, that is not kilowatt power. Okay, and you can see that this is maximum power output 70 kilowatt hour, and this is the RPM. So this is a contour kind of a thing. You are finding here the power output is more, but in this case you will be finding that efficiency of the system will be less, because you are finding here efficiency is 34, 33, 31, 30. So as you are increasing the speed, okay, so towards this speed is higher, towards the speed is higher, but you are finding efficiency is less. Okay, this is 1000, but efficiency is very less. So this is something you have to understand. So generally the engine should be controlled in such a way that it always operates in its optimal operation. That means you have to run the vehicle with 60-70 kilometer per hour only. In that case, you will be finding the fuel consumption will be least, emission of the engine are minimized. So if you want higher life, longer life of your vehicle, in that case, you cannot stretch it more. Okay, sometimes you want to go to some place very fast. Okay, you can increase your speed up to 100, 150 or so. But if you want highest life of your vehicle, in that case, you should always drive the vehicle in the optimal operating region. So this will fuel consumption will become less and emission of the vehicle are minimized. So due to the mechanical decoupling of the engine from the drive wheel, because we have decoupled the engine from the drive wheel, from the drivetrain, because there is coming a generator in between. So mechanically, the engine is decoupled with the drive wheel. They are electrically coupled but mechanically decoupled. So due to the mechanical decoupling of the engine from the drive wheel, this optimal engine operation is realizable. So whatever we are showing here, it is possible because there is no direct electrical mechanical connection between engine and the drive wheel. However, it heavily depends upon the operating modes and the control strategy of the drivetrain. So there are some 8-9 different control strategies or driving modes. So which driving mode we are using, that heavily depends on the fuel efficiency and all. But whatever we do, if we are using IC engine based thing, we have to keep in mind that if it is 200 kilometer per hour maximum speed achievable, we should drive the vehicle between 60 to 70 kilometer per hour. This is safe. This is safe because we are driving in kind of a normal speed, as well as this is giving us maximum fuel efficiency. Next slide. This is also important slide. Series hybrid electric drivetrain, there are different operating modes. So there are several operating modes that can be used selectively according to the driving condition and wishes of the driver. Okay, because driver is giving the main command, that is what he wishes to do. Either he wants to drive slow or fast, whatever. So these operating modes are as follows. There is the first operating mode or main operating mode, which is called as a hybrid traction mode. Whenever we are saying hybrid, so whenever driver steps hard on the gas pedal, a large amount of power is demanded. Okay, so here both the engine generator, that means generator engine, that is the main source, and peaking power source. So officially PPS is coming for the first time in your discussion. So in this case, engine generator, that is the main power source, and peaking power source, that is the battery, both together is supplying the required power by the electric motor drive. So the driver is asking for more power. Engine generator as well as PPS together, they are actually supplying the main energy required. So here the engine should be controlled to operate in its optimal region. That means the same thing, 60 to 70 kilometer per hour. So even if the vehicle driver is asking for more power, engine should not be stretched. Okay, engine should be driven in that base power only. The bumper power or over extra power, it should be taken from the peaking power source. So here the engine should be controlled to operate in its optimal region for high efficiency and low emission, as shown in the previous figure. So just now we have shown you the figure here. So engine should be driven in this region, but we want more power. So who is going to give that? Okay. So engine should be controlled to operate in its own highest efficiency region as shown in the previous figure. PPS supplies the additional power to meet the traction power demand. The operation mode can be expressed as, so this is the high power demand from the driver. It is given in two parts: PEG, that is the engine generator, plus PPS. So we have been discussing, we have been talking about this formula since long back. This is the first type, hybrid traction mode. Second is peak power source alone traction mode. So in this case, the power demand is given only by the PPS. That means whatever is the battery is there, that is actually giving all the power required to the driving motor. Third one, engine generator alone traction mode. That is in the previous yesterday's lecture only, or in the lecture of series hybrid in the previous chapter, we have seen there are 9 modes. So in mode 1, first generator and engine is driving the case. So that is this one. Next is the battery is driving the vehicle, that is this one. And third or fifth, I think, was together. So source 1 and source 2, that is engine, generator, and the battery, they are together driving the vehicle. So that here, in case of hybrid, that is the first operating mode. So this is the first operating mode where engine, generator, and PPS both is supplying the heavy demand from the driver. Second case, PPS is only fulfilling the demand. So in this case, it's not very heavy demand, but in this case clean energy is required. I told you that maybe your vehicle is passing through some region, or maybe hospital or some special region where air pollution must not be done. So in that case you have to switch, turn your vehicle into total electrical mode. So in that case, whatever is the PPS battery, that will be giving the energy to the motor to drive. Again you cross that region, again you can turn your vehicle or switch your vehicle into engine generator mode, because whenever you are putting an engine generator mode, there will be some kind of black smoke emission there. So there is no effect of environment and all these things. Totally you can drive your vehicle by engine generator. In that case smoke emission will be more. Actually there's a fifth case, I have written it as fourth. So regenerative braking. So in this case the vehicle brakes, so whenever it is going downhill, vehicle automatically goes forward because it is downhill. So in that case, if you are putting brake, that will be used as a regenerative braking. So vehicle is working in the second quadrant. So the traction motor can be used as a generator, so converting the part of the kinetic energy of the vehicle mass into electrical energy to charge the PPS or battery pack. So all these things we have seen. The last one, PPS charge from engine generator. Okay, so this is the fifth case. In this case, whenever the engine generator set is running, it is doing two things. First, it is charging the PPS, that is charging the battery, and second, it is fulfilling the demand. So when the energy in the PPS decreases to some bottom threshold, the PPS must be charged. So this can be done by the regenerative braking or can be done by the engine generator. So engine generator is the primary source. It can use some of its energy to charge the PPS, or regenerative braking can be used to charge the PPS. So usually engine generator charging is needed, says regenerative braking charging is insufficient, and we don't know that vehicle is going down, maybe vehicle is going up. In that case regenerative braking is not possible. So generally engine generator set itself is used to charge the battery pack. So in this case also the engine generator power is divided into two parts. So one is PEG. Okay, so PEG actually propels the vehicle, and second one is PPS, charge the battery. So in this case, P demand is PEG plus PPS. Okay, so in this case, P demand is equal to PEG. So whatever is the demand, that is actually supplied by the PEG, and second case, PEG is actually supplies the PPS. So it should be noted that the operating node is only effective when the power of the engine generator is greater than that load power demand. It should be noted that the PPS power is given negative sign when it is being charged. So in this case, the PPS will be having a negative part. That means actually PEG is equal to P demand plus PPS. Okay, that is what we find. So whatever engine generator is doing, this is actually giving the main power to the vehicle, and it is actually charging the PPS. So what they mean is, in this case, in this specific case, PPS charge from engine generator, this plus sign actually is minus. That means PPS power is actually negative. Actually, there is drawing power from the PEG. So important, as shown in the series hybrid vehicle drivetrain figure. So it was previously the vehicle controller governs. Vehicle controller was at the top, that was the main brain of the vehicle. It governs the operation of each component according to the traction power command from the driver. So I told you that driver is giving mainly three commands. First one is the direction, which direction it wants to go. That doesn't come to the engine level. That mainly is the direction control level. And second one is the brake, and third one is the acceleration. So acceleration actually directly comes to the engine level. So the vehicle controller governs the operation of each component according to a traction power command from the driver and the feedback from the each of the components. So if engine is not in a position to drive the vehicle, engine will tell the vehicle controller that okay, I'm doing enough, I cannot do anything more. So also the drivetrain and the present control strategy, the control objectives are, so we will finish with this. What are the control objectives of the series hybrid electric drivetrain, which is actually done by the vehicle controller? So control objectives are: first, meet the power demand of the driver. So if it is very high, in that case, engine generator and PPS both drive the power. If it is less, then only engine generator source drives the vehicle. Likewise. Second, operate each component with optimal efficiency. This will actually increase the fuel efficiency. This will increase the lifespan of all the components, because if you don't stretch components much, in that case all the components lifespan will actually increase. So very important thing, operate each component with optimal efficiency. Third thing is recapture braking energy as much as possible. In that case, if you are recapturing the braking energy, in that case this mode, that is the fifth mode, it should be as less as possible. That means whatever energy the engine is having, the energy should be wasted or used only to drive the main vehicle drivetrain. Energy from engine generator should not be much used to charge the PPS. So to charge the PPS, mainly we have to use the recapture the braking energy by using regenerative braking. So this should be the main part of charging the PPS. And the fourth objective is maintain the state of the charge of the PPS in a preset window. So whatever is the PPS value, state of charge, that should be always kept to maximum. So I gave you the example of that your salary is 1 lakh, but you are keeping a 50,000 fund extra. So whenever peak demand is there, you can take 20,000 from there. And next month, whenever you are making some savings, you put that 20,000 back. So whatever is your auxiliary fund, whatever is your bumper fund, that should be always 50,000 at any case. Someday you take it, and whenever good time comes, you fill it up. So whenever this PPS is there, we should always see that the PPS state of the charge is always 100%. If not, either we have to charge it by main EG set, or we have to charge it to regenerative braking. So whenever there is some extra power available in the vehicle, the PPS should be charged and PPS SOC should be kept at 100%. Now there are control strategy. So in control strategy, rule that is preset in the vehicle controller and governs the operation of each component. The vehicle controller receives operation commands from the driver. It's already explained, and feedback from all the drivetrain and all the components, and it then makes decision to use the proper operational mode. So vehicle controller is taking all the decision that which train has to be taken. So whether EG has to be source has to be taken to drive the motor, a traction motor, or PPS should be or regenerative braking is happening, so use the traction motor as a generator and revert the power to the PPS. All these things are control strategies are decided by the vehicle controller. So obviously the performance of the drivetrain relies mainly on the control quality, in which the control strategy plays a crucial role. So there were 9 modes. So selection of modes is actually done by the vehicle controller. So it's an embedded system kind of a thing. AI is there, so a lot of intelligence is embedded in that. So depending on that, vehicle controller takes the decision. So in practice, there are several control strategies that can be employed in the drivetrain for vehicle control with different mission requirements. So this is a very important line. Not each objective can be satisfied simultaneously. So each mode of operation is having a specific objective. So in our syllabus, there are 2. That is, the first one is maximum SOC of PPS. That means maximum state of charge for peaking power source. That is maximum SOC of PPS. That is the first type. We shall do it next day. And second one is engine turn off and turn on. That is engine on off or thermostat control strategies. So these are the main 2 strategies we will see, and we will see the max SOC of PPS control strategy. We shall do it next day. So I stop here. Thank you.